Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Family Style, Memories of an American from Vietnam by Thien Pham. This is an interesting graphic novel about Pham's journey from Vietnam to the United States and his family setting their roots down in America. And it's a lot having to do with food. The various chapters all are very food specific, with like a scene having to do with that particular piece of food, and clearly it like evokes some memory for him. It's really, I think, really intriguing. And I think what's kind of intriguing about it is you can see like this Americanization as the food progresses, but at the same time, Pham's kind of like in of multiple worlds. Is like there's around him is a very vibrant, it seems like, Vietnamese community. But at the same time, like, he's also got American friends. He's trying to, learn English, and his family is trying to make their way as well. So it's I think really interesting of a story of a person kind of like in between two worlds, deciding their future and who they are, and trying to like do it all in the best way possible. It's interesting. Like it's a very intriguing immigrant story, and honestly, like, I think it's really solid to just see someone's experiences, and to me that was the biggest takeaway off of this. Like, obviously I'm not an immigrant, I'm not from another country, these aren't experiences that I've had, but opening up and exploring other places, exploring learning about other places with the food, I think is really intriguing. When they come to the U.S., one of the first things they have, I think, is like meat and potatoes, steak and potatoes, I think, is the meal, and it doesn't go well. But I mean, to me that's interesting. Like it's kind of fascinating to see what does and doesn't click. Like food is thrown out there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could totally go for that. And has this like, I have no idea what this is. So I think that's fascinating to me. The others, it opens up with a hell of an opening, with them escaping Vietnam. And getting away from there. So I mean, it's a pretty jarring thing to experience. So overall, I think it's a really interesting graphic novel. Of like, I personally would love to see this to read this more as a webcomic. Like, this would be a webcomic I think I would go back to every single day to see Thien Pham's observations about the world. I think to me that would be really, really interesting. As a graphic novel, it's intriguing, but this is one that I actually think would work way better as a webcomic, daily webcomic or weekly webcomic or whatever. So yeah, to me it's a fascinating thing, especially it going over time. It starts off when he's really, really young, which I think is like 80s, and then kind of we get into Donald Trump's election era, probably about Charlottesville, based off of some things that are hinted at. So to see that time frame, it can't go into too much depth, and I think maybe the one thing I thought was missing. I would love to have seen more in-depth experiences about the time period and what Pham went through, or his life in general. So in other words, I actually think it's too short. It's kind of the funny thing is, like, I'd love to see this expanded and meet multiple volumes. I don't know if people would do multiple volumes, but also kind of, I think, get away from the point a little bit. The other thing I actually really like about this is in the back there is some shorts where he interviews his parents and friends and families, a lot of people that are in the graphic novel, and they react to things from the graphic novel or just the graphic novel in general. I think all that's actually really intriguing. So it's like a nice follow-up, almost like director's notes in some ways, which I think is actually really, really cool. As I said, the opening is pretty jarring. It's them trying to escape for their freedom, or at least get away, suffering on the boat, and you're not quite sure what's going to happen. They get picked up. There's pirates. Like, it's a pretty tense opening for anything. But I think you can get a sense of the style that way. We'll show at least a little bit of the... Yeah, steak and potatoes is what they go to. It's more when they get to the U.S. here. So overall, I think it's really interesting. Like, it definitely, things I can't necessarily relate to, but I definitely learned some stuff here and there. it's good. Like, I think it's pretty solid stuff. So you can go with this out in the comic shops. We got a link up beneath this video. Put in your zip code, tell the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some links where you can purchase your own. There'll be affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage. And by doing that, you'll support our site. So thank you for that. And I want to thank First Second for hooking us up with the review copy. And of course, thank you all for watching. If you're into comics or into graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.